Hey everybody, it's Allison, sdlprostretch.com. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Today we're going to talk about stretching the abdominals, specifically the rectus abdominal, though we will get into some obliques as well. Yes, it can be important to stretch your abdominals. I am one that used to do tons and tons of crunches back in my 30s and never got six-pack abs from doing them. The only thing it brought me was a lot of tension in my abs and actually caused me some digestive problems. So if you're looking to improve your digestion, you really need to soften the belly sometimes and do some belly breathing. That will help, and also stretching out the front of the body. As usual, don't do it if it hurts. Some of these, be cautioned, if you're pregnant, probably not good idea to do some of these exercises. Always work within your range of motion. Okay, so we're going to come to the mat, and I'm just going to work in and out of like a downward dog, upward dog. That's really the best way, I think, to get the abdominals into that elastic, stretchy mode. So come to the mat. And you can do these on your elbows. This is fine. You don't have to do these on your hands. And I know some of you have got wrist issues. So I'm going to start this in with my elbows on the ground, about shoulder width apart. I'm going to interlace my fingers. And then I'm going to tuck my toes under and lift up. And I'm going to back it up. I got my butt up in the air. This is like a porpoise pose. And then I'm going to bring my chest forward and bring my chest through my arms. I'm going to pull the tailbone underneath me. I'm resting my hips on the mat. I'm going to pull my chest forward. And I'm going to back it up again. And pull forward again. And you can do that as many times as you want. Some of you may want to take this into just a Sphinx pose. So I've got my elbows on the mat, and my hands, my palms down, and I'm going to pull my arms back toward me as I draw my chest forward. And my hips are really heavy. I'm just going to let them sink into the mat. I am going to curl the tailbone underneath in between my legs a little bit and draw my chest forward. And I'm going to kind of wiggle a little bit from side to side. Wiggle and wiggle. Now, if you're in downward dog, this is going to make this so much easier. So say you're in downward dog because your hips are going to be off the ground when you're in downward dog. I do see a lot of people teaching a cobra or upward dog like this with the hips on the ground. Probably not the best for your lower back unless you're really engaging those abdominals, pulling the belly in and up. Otherwise, your thighs are going to be off the ground. We want to start from a plank position and then drop the hips, pull the chest through the arms, navel in and up. And I'm stretching the ribs forward and up, and I'm pulling the shoulder blades together and down. So that's your upward dog stretch, and we're going to take that right back to downward dog. Couple of things you can do in here. I like to just go back and forth. Upward dog, downward dog. It's a great way to start your day. But you can add a little bit of a twist here. So as I come back, I'm going to come forward and drop my right hip. I'm going to kind of turn to the side a little bit, get into the obliques and the QL, and then take it back. And then drop to the other side. Drop the left. I'm getting a huge abdominal stretch from this. So I'm just dropping and rising and dropping and rising. You can do this as many times as you want. Another thing that I like to do in here is once you get down here, pulling my abdominals in and up, so I am engaging them, but I'm going to wiggle from side to side. I'm going to drop one hip and then drop the other hip. You can do this on your elbows as well. Just come down on your elbows, drop, and drop. I'm still getting a stretch. It's a little bit of a burning stretch, but I really prefer the upward dog movement because I feel like it just opens things up even farther. I've got this chair here, and it's because some of you I know The upward dog is going to be too much for your wrists or your arms. Take it to the chair. And this will be actually, might even be just as good as your upward dog. So I'm going to start here. Make sure your chair isn't going to slide away. So make sure it's on that sticky mat. I don't want it to slide anywhere. And I got my feet, if I pull away, I probably can get my arms straight and my hips right over my heels. And then I'm going to shift forward. Same thing. I'm going to draw my chest through my arms and stretch my chest up into a little arc. I'm pulling my navel in and up, and tailbone's going between the thighs. So I'm posterior tilting. Pull the shoulder blades together and down the back. Lift the chest, lift the ribs. Take a deep breath in and let it go. So this might be a little bit easier on your wrist because not so much pressure as being upside down. I know you're still on your hands and your wrists. Another thing that you can do, this is one of my favorite stretches, is we're going to get into lizard pose. So you might want to do a hip flexor stretch here before you get into lizard. So I've got my thighs scissoring together and pulling my front foot back and my back knee forward. And I'm doing that posterior tilt. Imagine your pelvis is a bowl of water. It's spilling out the back. And I'm going to start moving back and forth. So get that stretch going. And then I'm going to reach down and slide my right arm down the thigh, and then lift the left arm up and over. You should get a really nice oblique stretch and hip flexor stretch through there too. So I'm coming forward. I'm not so worried about the contraction of the legs. I'm going to come forward, slide that arm through the inside, and then take the other arm up and over. Huge abdominal stretch here. And you can come in and out of this, or you can hold it. And we'll do the other side just because. So again, we want to get this contraction going. The front heel is pulling back knee pulling forward. I'm going to get that contraction. Posterior pelvic tilt, shift forward and back. Great hip flexor stretch. Get all that warmed up. You probably will need some padding underneath your knee. My knees are so used to it, I don't think about it a lot. And then I'm going to slide this left arm down and bring the other arm up and over. I'm turning and reaching. If you want to take this stretch farther, well, you can. You can reach up and then start to arch back. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm going to change my angle here. So I'm turning and reaching, and I'm going to arch back. And that is an amazing hip flexor and abdominal stretch. Okay, here's another one for you. I'm going to change the angle of my mat. I'm starting from downward dog. You could do this on your elbows. So let's try it on elbows just to see how it goes. So I'm going to lift up into my porpoise pose. I'm going to lift a leg behind me, bend the knee, open the hip. And I'm going to open it as much as I can and then stretch this leg out behind me. Like I'm going to point it toward the opposite corner of the ceiling. And that should give you quite a nice hip flexor and abdominal stretch. And now I'm going to twist to the other side, straighten the leg. If your hips cramp up in this one, then you're going to have to stretch your hips. You're going to have to stretch your hips, and you're going to have to stretch your TFL. And I've got plenty of videos on that, so you can find them on here, I'm sure. I actually have an entire section of a playlist on glute stretches, so I'm sure you could find them. Now from downward dog, same thing. I'm going to lift the leg up. I'm going to bend the knee, open the hip to like a little half scorpion here.
And I am pushing with my hands and pulling my knee away. And I'm going to keep twisting and then stretch the leg as straight as I can. Oh, that's a good stretch. And then switch sides. So stretch it behind, open, and then aim toward the opposite corner of the room.
And that's about all I've got for you today. Hopefully, this will help you out if you are suffering from sore abdominals. And also develop some strength as well, because it takes a lot of strength to pull in and out of these movements. Anyway, until next time, happy stretching. Bye-bye.